proud.
Oh. Did he just say that?
Not to that 100 messages.
How do you know?
You actually haven't owned your shit. Johno, you have tried to deflect this whole time.
I'm just going to say this. For Tori, for her to continue to sort of be with this man and put up with everything he's dishing her and continue to say she's developing feelings, she's infatuated, I don't get it. He's asked, how do you feel about me? And he says, proud. Okay, it is what it is. And then, oh my God, the fight we were waiting for. I love the fact that everybody was with Lauren. I think Johno, having spoken to Ellie, must have thought that people would sort of gang up and sort of turn against Lauren because of the fact that she's been trying to hold a lot of people's feet to the fire. But sadly, his plan backfired. Anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, share, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight Australia, Season 11, Episode 34. Well, I'll start off with a disclaimer just because I've seen the comments and I thought I would address them because I think there's a misunderstanding. I am not saying why did Tori tell, Lauren about Johno and Ellie texting. That's not the issue. It's the vindictiveness, the maliciousness, the fact that Tori said people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, one, and the fact that she said she's feeling euphoric. She's feeling excited. She's over the moon that, finally she has something to go at Lauren and Johno about. When Lauren was telling Tori about everything Jack was doing, it was coming from a place of, I'm your friend, I'm trying to protect you. It wasn't a place of, oh, I hate Tori, so I'm going to bring her down. No, Lauren hates Jack, but she was telling her friend to try and protect her friend. Sarah was getting involved in the drama because she needed airtime, because her husband is one of the most laid back guys in the experiment. So she felt that she needed to be in the mix. That way, she's talked about. And the only way she could do that was be a part of the Jack scenario. So I'm not questioning why Tori told Lauren about Johno texting Ellie. I'm questioning the motive behind her telling her because it's coming from a place of malice. It's not coming from a place of care or compassion or empathy. This is the issue. Yes, Lauren has spoke up every time when it comes to Tori's marriage, but it has always been, this is my friend. You can't do this to my friend. I don't like what you're doing to my friend. It has never been a fact of, oh, well, I hate Tori and I hate her husband, so this is what I'm going to do. No, Lauren's goal has always been to expose the things that Jack is doing so that her friend sort of has a different perspective of what's going on in her marriage. That's the impression that I got. Anyway, I digress. So we start off with, Johno and Lauren. What do I think? Johno, this is what I think. They showed clips of Ellie with Ben and Ellie sort of chatting with Johno. I think Johno and Ellie liked one another. As I said in my review yesterday, I think this is why Jack was sort of saying to Johno that I am a friend, I keep secrets. And I think the secret he was keeping was the fact that Johno really liked Ellie or was attracted to Ellie. And I think this is why sort of Johno couldn't defend or go against Jack in any way because he was afraid that would be exposed. I feel like Jack already knew about this affair or this relationship. It's nothing new to him. And for Johno to bring his phone and show, Lauren and say, I don't remember whether I sent her text messages. What do you mean you don't remember? You would know. And there were very long messages that he was sending her. He was sending her long messages and there were quite a lot. Lauren didn't. If Lauren was being malicious, she could have read every single text message. She could have read every single text message, or she could have highlighted the most, provocative ones. That way, Johno would have looked bad. Because for Johno to then say, oh, I gave her my phone, none of them, she wasn't offended by anything. They all looked innocent, so we're okay. And it's like, there's nothing innocent about you texting someone who was on the show and someone who's somebody's ex-wife more than 3-4 times without your wife knowing. And even Lauren said, when I took you out for your birthday, you never sort of told her anything, or she never asked about me, or you never told her that Lauren took me on my birthday. So what is it? What were the two of you talking about? This is when you see that it's sketchy. This is when you see that it's sketchy. They were attracted to one another. I think they started something before Ellie left the experiment. And so this is why she was very confident and very outspoken when it came to sort of tearing Ben down. Because I remember asking, what has changed? Why is Ellie suddenly got vim for Ben? And I think this is because she and Johno had already started something. And for Johno to say, oh, I don't like drama, I've protected Lauren throughout the experiment, so she likes drama, so if she says anything tonight, I'll know that. I feel like as soon as he left Lauren, he went back and he spoke to Ellie. I have a feeling from the moment it was exposed, at his first convenient moment, he texted Ellie and he was telling Ellie what was going on in the experiment and the fact that they had been exposed. I think they came with a statement or up with a sort of statement or something to say that way it wouldn't look so bad. This is why he's not really bothered about Lauren knowing that he's texting Ellie, because he was saying, oh well, I've protected her, if she wants she can come with the drama, I don't like confrontation. And it's like, you're wrong though, you're wrong. Just own up to it. You have all the other couples, they're happy. Jade and Ridge are in a good place, so they're excited for the dinner party. Although Ridge, you have him, I think the producers were provoking him to sort of say, what sort of words do you use when you're describing something? And then they made it seem like he was being childish. I think this is the way they've wanted to sort of portray him, that he's this childish grown man who has been saved or who has been changed by his wife. Because they even asked him, oh, would you say that Jade has changed you? I think that's the narrative that they're going for him. And then for Tori to say, I'm going to put on a red lipstick and she's dressed in red, it's like, nah, this is not it. You need to understand that whatever Johno and Lauren were doing, they were doing it looking out for your best interest, not because they were being malicious. You are being malicious. And it's not a good look for you. You have Sarah and Tim. Oh God, what can I say? It's still the same old story. Oh, we've grown, we've developed, we're doing better, we are moving on. And yet Tim in his confessional is saying, no, I still haven't got over the cheating. And it's like, oh, get your story straight. So everybody gets ready for the dinner party, and first to arrive is Tori and Jack. And Tori and Jack are actually surprised because every week they've always been in the middle or the last to arrive, because they've been in the thick of the drama and the producers have always kept them back so that they can come in last for a reaction. And because they are the ones that are bringing the tea, I think this is why they came in first, so that they could watch everybody else come in and they could discuss whatever's going on. That's the impression that I got. And so you then have Jaden and Eden arrive, and Jaden and Eden, for me, Eden is saying she's still very anxious and she was worried about coming. And for me, I think her anxiety, I'm not saying she doesn't suffer from anxiety, but I think it's a bit too convenient. It reminds me of Ash's wife. I've forgotten her name. What was it? Matilda or something. It reminds me of that lady who kept saying she hears voices, because it seems convenient. It seems conveniently placed. That's just my opinion. They are followed by Lauren. Lauren lets everybody know that Johno has given her his phone and she had the opportunity to look. She didn't read every single message, but the thing is, she's upset about two things. She's upset that the quantity, that there's over 100 text messages. She's also upset that even though, she had to go home for a procedure, they went to her homestay and, there was no mention of her in the messages. It wasn't like Ellie asked, how is Lauren? How is she feeling after her surgery? Or it wasn't even as though Johno volunteered that, Lauren has had her surgical procedure. And you could see the boys were uncomfortable. They were uncomfortable. For Jack to sort of say, oh, Johno threw me under the bus, now it's his turn. It's like, Jack, you said terrible things. This is why you were called out. It's not like he manufactured something. It was something that you said that was bad, and that was a bad look for your wife. And I think this is why this season maybe they haven't done the wife swap, because they were worried because of your comments that you made about wanting to pimp your wife out. You have Jaden. Jaden is saying it's not a good look. If it was 1 or 2 messages, it's fine. But how would you text someone 100 messages while you're on the experiment? And I think this is where the issue is, that during the experiment, they're sort of restricted to who they can talk to. And, they have filming and everything else. So if he's speaking to someone for more than 100 text messages, what is he discussing with somebody else's wife? It's not like he's talking to a guy. Yes, he tried to quantify it or justify it by saying, oh, I'm also talking to Michael and Stephen, but it's totally different. If you are flirting with somebody else's wife, or if you say somebody else's wife reached out to you, she could have easily reached out to one of the girls if that was the case. We all know there's more going on there. You had Dridge and Jade arrive. They seem very happy. You also had Sarah and Tim arrive, and they seem very happy. And then everybody started discussing the text messages. I wish Lauren had actually read them out. I wish she had read them out. I think part of Tori now feels guilty. I think part of her, a small, tiny little grain of her, I think feels guilty because she can see now that she's torn her friend down. She must have encouraged. I think it was vindictive, one. And two, I think her husband, because her husband doesn't like Lauren, I think she thought, this would be a good drama, but it's not coming across that way. Last to arrive is Johno, and obviously everybody's ready for him and wants to know what's happened. So Johno walks in, and you can tell, I think Johno wants to make Lauren look like the villain. That's the impression that I get, because even in the car he said, Lauren likes drama, she's always targeted someone every time, and I've enjoyed, sitting back and watching her attack people, and tonight it's going to be me. And it's like, Lauren just doesn't go on the attack for nothing. Lauren normally attacks someone because there's a reason. She's not crazy. She's not just going to go crazy and start yelling at people for no apparent reason. And for you to say, now I'm in the line of fire, you brought this on yourself, buddy. You brought this on yourself. And the fact that he walked in and greeted everybody except for his wife doesn't make sense. I can't wait for the dinner party. I can't wait for the honesty box to come, because I want them to drag him. I want everyone to drag him. And the fact that everybody's trying to be nice, I think because he plays this nice guy, this is why everybody doesn't know how to go about it. I think if it was Jack, then they would have called him out immediately. But because Johno is always the nice guy, people are struggling to know how to hold him accountable. So I can't wait for the honesty box, because even the experts are surprised at the number of text messages or the conversations that have transpired between Ellie and Johno. I can't wait for the reunion. I want them to call him out. I want them to sort of hold his feet with Ellie to the fire, because Ellie pretended to be a victim, and now we find out she was actually. So at the dinner table, you have Jaden say, let's do a toast. Anyone mention anything that you've enjoyed in the experiment? And so Johno goes, to making friends. And it's like, why? You've got a wife sitting beside you. You are in trouble because you're texting someone and you're saying it was friendship vibes. And now you're toasting to making friends. It doesn't make sense. And I give it to Sarah, because Sarah immediately came at him and asked him that, to you texting LA. And he said, it was innocent. I also want to correct something. I feel like, this is my opinion, I feel like Johno, after the conversation at the commitment ceremony, ran home and texted Ellie, or he called Ellie and told her what had happened at the commitment ceremony, and told her that I told everyone that you are the one that texted me first before I text you back. And I think Ellie must have cried and said, oh no, they're going to hate me. They're going to think that I was the one who took somebody else's husband. So he then came, that's my opinion, because he came to the dinner party and said, oh well, I just wanted to correct something. Ellie wasn't the first one to text me. I was the first one to text her. I feel like he was doing damage control. I think Ellie put him up to it, or Ellie sort of cried and moaned and said, people are going to hate me for this. And this is why he wanted to sort of redeem her and sort of say, no, actually, she didn't pursue me. It was just an innocent flirting, and I started the conversation. And it's like, nah. For you to say that you sent her a text message to say, how was your trip? How is it being out of the experiment? Why do you need to be the communications director for the group? Why didn't you make a group chat, and then everyone could chat, those that have left and those that are still in the experiment, and just catch up and see how the others are doing, if it was that innocent? And for him to sort of have a back and forth with Lauren and say, oh no, it wasn't 100 messages, it was about 50. And it's like, 50 messages? What are we talking about? 50 messages, that's a lot. That's a lot. To someone who you say you speak to every 3 days, that's a lot. They're in the experiment for 8 weeks. Let's make it make sense. If you're texting every 3 days, that means 2 a week. 2 times 8, that gives you 16. Is my math right? Maybe about 20 or 30 at the most. So how did we get to 50? What are we talking about? I feel like he had a conversation with Ellie before he came to the dinner party, and they agreed that they would sort of remove the dirt from her and put it on him. And he said, "Don't worry, I'll own it. I'll say I started the conversation one." And I think they had a plan on how to make Lauren look like the bad guy, the way Ellie was able to make Ben the bad guy. Yes, Ben was bad, but suddenly she had this list of things and she had everything, and she ended up coming out, smelling of roses, and he came out smelling of dirt. And so I think this is the same plan that they were going to use on Lauren, in the sense that they were going to say, Lauren is very vocal, Lauren is always looking for trouble, so it's not my fault, it's just her being her. And so people holding his feet to the fire and people not agreeing with what he did is a surprise for him. This is why he keeps looking around and waiting for someone to sort of help him or save him. And I like the fact that all the guys are not agreeing with what he did. I hate to say I called it. I normally watch my shows and review every couple of scenes. So I've said this before, that I think Jack is holding Johno's secret, and I think this is why Johno won't say or do anything to upset Jack. And now it comes out that apparently Johno told Jack that he wishes he had been matched with Ellie, and it's like, oh, this is where it is. I remember saying it weeks ago after the incident, the muzzle your wife comment and everything that happened with that. I remember saying that I feel like Jack is got something that is holding over Johno's head. This is why Johno's not saying anything. And for it to come out now, and for him to be asked by Lauren to say, is it the truth? And he goes, I can't remember. And it's like, oh my God, you're pleading the fifth on every single thing. You can't remember. You can't be that forgetful. Just own up to it. I think all this would not have gone the way it's gone had he walked in, gone to his wife and said, "Hi, how are you? I just wanted to apologize. I know I wronged you. I am so sorry. I hope we're able to find, common ground, or we're able to sort of address whatever concerns you have. That way, if we're moving on, on a clean slate, and you feel like, you've got closure from me." And yet he hasn't done that. And this is why he's having the problems that he's having, and everyone is calling him out. Anyway, the honesty box arrives. First with the honesty box is Sarah and Tim. And are we surprised with their questions? No. This was to be expected. So Sarah is asked about her regrets in the experiment, and she talks about the fact that she regrets not giving Johno a chance right from the word go. She regrets the way she treated him, and it's like, yeah, everybody knows that. If you didn't say that, then it would be questionable. She's asked, are you falling in love with him? She says, yeah, if they keep going the way they're going, she can see that. And for me, it's like, yeah, just say whatever needs to be said. I still don't get how they went from her not liking him to suddenly liking him, and then almost breaking up because of the cheating, and then now they're back. I think it's a lot of acting. I think they're trying to give Sarah the redemption arc, in the sense that she came in, she didn't like her husband, they liked each other, then there was the cheating scandal, and now they're back to where they were when they were liking each other. I'm not buying it. You then have Sarah ask Tim, and Tim is asked, he's asked about their relationship and whether he sees himself falling in love. And he says, well, if things keep going the way they are, he feels like he would. And it's like, yeah, it's to be expected. Tim has always liked Sarah not so much, but Tim has always liked Sarah, so I'm not surprised that that's his response. He would have said that anyway, because he's always been interested in her. There was the sexual attraction there, so I'm not surprised. When he's asked about her still having feelings for her ex, it's like, I don't know. I don't think anyone can say she's truly over her ex. She can only prove it that she's over her ex. Why, if she couldn't get over him in 6 years, has she suddenly been able to get over him in 2-3 weeks? Make that make sense? The math ain't mathing. So I don't think she's over him. She might be working towards getting over him, but I don't think she's over him as yet. Maybe she will get over him. I don't know. What do I think about them? I think they've been given the redemption arc, and I think Sarah is playing heavily into that and leaning a lot into that and sort of making it seem like, she's a changed person. No, I don't say it. I want to see them leave the experiment and continue to be together. Then I'll say, yes, she has made changes. Otherwise, it seems more for TV than for anything else. Next is Tori and Jack, and the embarrassment, the secondhand embarrassment I have for Tori is shocking because she's asked, how do you feel about me? What could I have changed? Do you think you're falling in love with me? Or do you have any concerns about us sort of being long distance? And her responses are shocking, to say the least, because when she was asked, what could I have changed? Even the experts were saying there's a laundry list of things that we could say. There's a laundry list. So we will, they were expecting her to sort of list everything he's done. And for her to say, maybe you should have thought before you spoke. And it's like, that can't be your answer. That can't be your answer. Maybe you should have called him out individually. You shouldn't have said that, you'd be happy for me to sleep with somebody else. You shouldn't have disrespected the other wives. You shouldn't have disrespected the husbands. Anything she could have said. And for her to say that and then to say she's infatuated with him, it's like, Tori, are you not seeing the same thing we're seeing? And how cocky he was when you sort of asked her, have you been in love? How many guys have you been in love with before? And she said never. And he says, well, she hadn't met me. And it's like, Tori, as much as I don't take pride in her pain, but at the end of the day, she's going to look like an idiot. She's going to look like an idiot when she sees the things this man was saying. And it seems the two of them are playing up for the cameras. So, hey, it is what it is. Jack has lived up to his jackass ways. He's asked, how do you feel about me? How do you feel about long distance? Do you think you could fall in love with me? And his responses are so insulting. You could see from everybody's facial expressions, you could see that they all felt some type of way. They were uncomfortable, but at the same time, they were ecstatic that he was being asked the questions that he needed to be asked. And for him to say, oh, I'm worried, you're strong, you're confident, you're independent, and I wonder how that's going to play out once we live together. I think he's more or less saying he's wondering whether he will still be able to manipulate her long distance, because living with her, he's been able to manipulate her and get her to do whatever he wants. Now with the distance, he won't be able to see her every single time. He won't be able to manipulate every single sort of movement or every single sort of gesture or opinion she might have. And for him to be asked, how do you feel about me? And to say proud, even John wanted the floor to open up and hide him. You could see he was so embarrassed. The secondhand embarrassment was shocking. And all the wives' faces, they couldn't believe it. And to have Ridge ask, his wife that, do you believe what he's saying? You can tell nobody believes it. People are just looking at him and watching him. For him to say, I could see myself falling in love with you. Are you attracted to me? Well, when we first met, there was no spark. And then about a month ago, we had a spark. And, we work very well in the bedroom, so hey. And it's like, it's more like a business arrangement. He's trying not to agree to the fact that he likes her sexually. I feel like, given how Jack has responded every single time he's been asked about his feelings towards Tori, it makes me truly believe that he's got a girlfriend outside and he doesn't want to upset his girlfriend by admitting that he has feelings for Tori, because then that would go against whatever agreement he has with his girlfriend. That's the impression that I get, because it doesn't make sense that he's sort of vague and he's sort of dancing around the outskirts of the truth, and he won't come out and say, yes, I'm attracted to you. No, I'm not attracted to you. Yes, I am developing strong feelings that could turn out to be love. He's being very vague, and everybody at the table cannot believe him, but they're going to humor him. And then for her to ask him to fake a kiss, it's like, these two are putting on a performance. We've all known this. They have been putting on a performance from day one, and they just want to stay on the show for as long as they can so that they get endorsement deals, influencer roles, and followers. That's all I get. Next is Jade and Ridge sadly is his own worst enemy, because Jade is giving him compliments, and then he was excited. I think he was ecstatic. And I think this is how he expresses himself. And Jade was wound up, so she told him, stop doing it. And you could see that he stopped for a moment. He realized that, oh crap, I've upset her. And she was really upset. And she was saying, I'm trying to give you a compliment and I'm going to stop if you're going to continue to do that, because she wants someone who's mature. But then Ridge has these moments where he's very mature and very loving and caring and empathetic and understanding. So I think she's sort of trying to balance it out, because she even said, at the wedding, I was worried because I didn't know where we would stand, whether you'd always be this playful or whether you'd have a serious side. And so for me, it's scary that this is what you're doing. And then when she's asked, what's your worry? And she said, the immaturity thing is my biggest worry. This is my biggest worry, because she can't have two children in the household. She can't be looking after her daughter and also be trying to discipline her husband. That doesn't make sense. I've always said this, that persona he puts on, I think it's it's a persona just to fit in. There are certain jobs that you work in that are very stressful, and you have to find ways of coping. And I think this whatever childish behavior, whatever he does, I think it's his way of sort of shutting down from his work mode and actually just being rich and just enjoying himself. So it's good that he actually stepped up and explained himself that, you are it for me. I am trying to be my best self because I want to be the best version be the best man for you. So I like the fact that he spoke positively about himself and his relationship. And I wanted to say, Jack, to take notes, because this is what you need to say when your wife is asking you questions, or when your wife expresses concerns about something you might have said or done. Oh my God. I'll take Ridge any day over any of the husbands on the experiment. I'll take Ridge any day, any time, because of his level of maturity, I want to say, or his level of understanding of his situation. Yes, he has the immaturity where he is a frat boy and he does all the silly stuff, but the fact that he was able to give a timeline of when he expects to move to the Gold Coast by, and also explain that he's open to sort of having or taking on the role of being V's dad. He's already said this when she told him that she had a child, and he said, "My dad raised my half sister, so for me it's not something to worry about. It's something that I'm open to." And the fact that he had to acknowledge that obviously he's not going to force himself on anyone. As long as V and as long as Jade are open to him being a stepdad, he's ready to step into the role. He has moments of maturity that far outweigh his immature behavior. This is something I've noticed on Rage. And so the fact that, he was able to speak positively about his relationship and actually give clarity. Oh my God, I love that. I'm so happy for them. I think they're going to be the only maybe couple to actually make it out of the experiment, okay? Lauren and Johno are next. And you could see it coming. Even Tim was like, let's get ready to rumble. It was to be expected. It was going to be very sort of provocative. And so for me, this is what I'm going to say. I'm not going to repeat all their questions. It's just infuriating. But here's what I think. I think Johno and Ellie have been communicating since well before she left the experiment, because Johno fought harder for Ellie when Ben was treating her like crap than he has done for his wife. So for him to say he doesn't value Lauren's opinion, he doesn't care about what she thinks, I feel like when Ellie was going through whatever she went through with Ben, I feel like Johno was sort of her sounding board, and they came up with an idea and a plan of how to sort of get her to look, innocent and be the one with the positive sort of storyline and an exit out of the experiment. And I feel like she expected Johno to follow her, because she thought maybe, since things weren't working with Lauren, he would have opted to leave. But the producers must have convinced Lauren to stay on the show because she brings the drama. And so I feel like because they were able to sort of polish up and clean up Ellie's image, Johno and Ellie decided to do the same for Johno and paint Lauren as the bad guy. So even his attitude from the moment he walked in his confessionals were all aimed at painting Lauren as the bad guy. She's very confrontational, she's very abrupt, she's very aggressive, she's very, I don't like your fight style. All this was meant to paint Lauren as the villain in the story. Because even when he was asked, do you have feelings for Ellie? Do you think you'd have had a better experience with Ellie? I would have had a better experience with every other woman in the experiment. And it's like, he is trying to be Jack, but he's not Jack. And you can actually see that he's actually worse than Jack, in the sense that he's played this good guy character all along, only for his claws to come out and him to say some of the most malicious, some of the most horrible things you could ever think of saying. And it's not like Lauren has done or said anything except that she's expected an apology from him and for him to take ownership of his actions. And because his feet are being held to the fire, instead of him sort of taking ownership and apologizing, I sincerely want to apologize to you. I started communicating with Ellie just on a friendship vibe. I didn't stop to think of how you'd feel. I'm very apologetic about everything that's happened, and I want to sincerely apologize to you, my wife. Please, can you forgive me? And I will try my best to make sure that this never happens again, and I'll always be honest, and all my messages with Ellie, I'm going to convert into a group message. That way, every time I chat with her, you see what we're chatting about and you are also involved in the conversation. Because Lauren is upset that her name was never brought up once. And so for him to then continue to sort of try and paint Lauren as the villain, you could see everyone is not on his side. I think he thought if he came and he turned the tables and said Lauren is the villain, everybody would side with him and say, yes, Lauren is the villain. But in actual fact, people are defending Lauren. People like Jack actually standing up for Lauren and asking him the questions that need to be asked. And so his plan backfired. His plan really backfired. And I wonder what he's going to go back and tell Ellie now that things have fallen apart for him. Jaden and Eden were the last couple. And, Jaden was asked, how do you feel about me? And he went, I love you. And then she whispered, I love you too. And it's like the fact that she was able to sort of worm their way out of it and say, oh, that's it, we don't need to say anything else. And it's like these two are putting on a performance. Jaden and Eden have, I don't know, they might have feelings for one another, but I think the manipulator or the person in charge of that relationship, it comes across as though it's Eden, because she's been able to get her way with every single thing that has taken place. And so the idea that suddenly, they don't want to discuss anything else doesn't make sense. Everybody else has had to go through the box. Why aren't you two going through the box? I don't know. They might surprise me. I'm waiting for the surprise, but the way they're sort of making out their relationship and the challenges they're facing, it makes it seem like it's more for performance than anything else. So I can't wait to see what they say. Obviously, on commitment ceremony, they're going to stay together, because you can't say I love you and then turn around at final vows and say, I want to separate. So I have a feeling they're going to stay together. For how long, I don't know. But for now, I think they will stay together, and then they will work on whatever issues they have. For the experts to say, oh, Jaden is worried that, he might lose Eden, this is why he's come around and he's told her he loves her. I think Jaden, as much as he's wrong for his sort of interview or interrogation style of communication, I think Eden has a fault. I think she manipulates him to get what she wants, and sadly it seems she's been able to get away with it and no one has called her out for that. So I don't know. I will see them at final vows, and chances are they're going to say yes. Anyway, it was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. Sorry for the late upload. I've been a bit busy the past 2 days, but hey, it is what it is. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 33. Bye guys.